What's up, guys? The name is Yobot. Just gonna quickly lower the volume a bit. It's a bit too loud. All right. Um, First, I'm gonna open a beer because it's Saturday, and everyone knows that Saturday is a nice day. So today I'm gonna explain a bit in this video about my template that I made. I've basically developed this template over like many years. Um, There is already some stuff in it, but it doesn't really matter about it. Um, I'm just gonna show you guys like basically how everything works and yeah, just go through the basics. I'll share this template as well. It's not perfect, but you know, it's like an ongoing project, so I'll get right into it. So basically, first, yeah, you have to master, of course. Everything's just going there. Not really any, special things there. What is special is that I've basically what I've did is I've made certain subgroups, mm, and these subgroups are basically linking certain elements that I personally feel that need to be grouped together. This is very handy because you can just further process them in these. Basically, they call them buses, and these bus channels you can basically further like make things sit in the right place. For example, with the vocals, I've kind of rolled off the sub because you don't really need it, and um, in general, I have it on the kick and bass. There's a multi-band compressor to make things sound the kick and bass sound punchier, and all these buses basically have a certain type in common that you want to basically bring forward, and this is basically preparing yourself for the mixing stage so that you when you're going to mix it, you make sure that all the levels are sitting right. It's going to just be so much easier because you already have it in all these buses. I personally feel that the way that I basically separated these buses work the best for me, but that can obviously vary. I know that some other people do it differently, but it really is up to you. So the buses that I made is one is for kick and bass solely, and then the other one is for percussion, and I have one part that is for percussion, more like the hats and the drums and the effects, like minimal effects and all that stuff. Um, And then I have another part for the snare, only the snare, and this is specifically done so that I can sidechain the snare to the percussion, so that basically the percussion lowers in volume. And also explained this in how I did this in my snare tutorial. So look up that one if you want to know how I did this. This basically makes sure that it sits right next to each other, very nice and solid. And then these two, the snare and the percussion, I also linked it again to another bus channel. So like here's the sub mix, and then actually I think I did it wrong in this way. It's supposed to go to the sub mix, so I should adjust my template, but I will do that. And then the snares will go also into the other submix, so I can process them again together. And I did this because I feel that the snares and the percussion also fit together. Then the next one is basically for leads. I have all kinds of leads, plugs, arps, melodies, leads, also support, so effects and stuff. And I have these going to two channels, one to the sidechain and one to the master. And I send one to the sidechain so that it basically also has this sidechain. And this is basically just doubling the volume of the leads, so they will always be a bit louder than the rest, which you kind of want with leads. Obviously, you don't want to have them louder than the kick and the bass, but I always make sure that they're right on volume with the rest. But this sidechain kind of gives this nice feeling that the parts where the kick is not hitting, the leads will just be a little bit louder, which you kind of want. And then I have the support section. Support section is basically yeah, this is gonna be all. I like to have usually cinematic effects in there. I also like a lot of choirs. I want to have like brass instruments, pads, strings, horns, all these kind of things that I feel that are supportive nature. Um, I have these in a special channel. Same thing. They also go to a sidechain mix. They don't go to what is it directly to the master because I don't want them to be too loud because they're obviously supportive. But I do want to have them sidechained so they don't interfere with the kick. Sometimes I make an exception and I feel like I don't want to have this thing sidechained, and then I'll just like change it and either directly link it to the master or make an extra channel and like bring it next to it, so that I'll just make an exception for that one. But it's all what I'm gonna do later. And then I have effects part. And this is just like all kinds of effects that I feel like, they're really just one time hitting in the whole project, or they're just special things or whatever, like risers just before uh, basically drops and all kind of additive elements I'll usually add here. And this usually becomes way more because then I'll just like, you know, shit, basically change this and put this in there. And then just, I don't know, like it usually becomes a lot. So, um, this is very simple, no sidechain or whatever. It just like goes into the bus mix and then just goes to the master. And then I have a riser part. These are the risers and also like like basically the swoofs that come after the risers that it goes out, or just the risers like the whatever. I have them also to a special channel and I have them side chained. Again, I sometimes change it that they don't sidechain if I feel that it's not necessary to sidechain them. Um, but I like to have these in a special channel because it's, I don't know, like easy control and stuff. And then I have one for vocals. I always like to use a lot of vocals, and that's why I've put this in a special channel. I like to chop up my vocals and also use different vocals in one track, so that's why I have several channels. Same thing goes to submix, and that's about it. I think that's a bit about the mixer. Here you have the mid sides, basically the mid. As you can see, this knob makes sure that everything is mono, so it's all in the center of your mix. And the other one is the sides, and this is pure stereo, so it's all the way to the sides. You can do all kinds of cool things with this. If you send like, for example, leads or something, and you want them to be um, more expressive or more like to the sides, way wider sounding, you can send them to the sides channel, and I'll just like link this to the sides channel, and then it just will have a little bit extra sounds on the sides. And the same for the mid, of course. You can just like basically send it to the mid, and then it will just be a bit more louder in the middle of the stereo field. I have one here as well. It's a bit redundant, but I guess this is just still have to change this. Sometimes I use it, and I'll have like a kind of plug-in on it. It's just like that I have the option that I can also change it later. I have a short delay and the send channel. This is because I usually use a very short delay. I think it's not my favorite delay. I would usually change it to another one then. But this is just like like just easy if you just need a delay. It's really cool to have like several send channels with delays, and then you can just basically have this sending to the delays, and then you can automate the amount of delay going in there, and you can create all kinds of cool effects. And then I have a reverb that I usually use a lot, same as the delay. You can just use it, and then there's a recording part that I use when I need to record things, when I'm just messing around in the studio. Um, then the layout here, it's basically the same. I actually, to be honest, don't really use this so precise that I have the effects here and the support here and the leads here. It usually becomes quite messier, to be honest. So it's not really important, but I still have it in there just to make sure. And I guess that's about it. Like I have some things here, but I'm running out of time, so I hope you enjoyed this. Like the templates, and yeah, download it and try it out. All right, see you guys.